please help me make sense of this. My ex-girlfriend, 30 years old, and I, 29 years old, were close friends for 8 years before we started dating 4.5 years ago. When I first admitted I had developed feelings for her, she was resistant and concerned that it might ruin our friendship. After a few months of trying to ignore our evolving attraction, we decided to give it a shot, started dating, and fell very hard for one another. Less than a year into our relationship, she said she wanted to marry me. We often discussed having kids. We traveled a ton, attended family gatherings, and an unfortunate amount of funerals together. Most people told us we seemed to inhabit our own world and speak our own language. We shared a bond that I found so comforting, fulfilling, and intoxicating that, to be honest, I often dreaded the possibility but never expected that things might not work out. This past fall, my family offered to help us purchase a condo. We started to tour places, and both couldn't have been more excited about the future. To say that I adored this woman and would do anything for us is an understatement. For the entirety of our relationship, she has lived at home with her single mom, who is mentally unwell, emotionally hurtful, and can't afford to pay the rent by herself. Her mom has never given me her blessing. When my ex was a child, her mom had a series of disastrous relationships with wealthy older men, yet always cautioned her daughter that I would never make enough money to support her, and that she should instead pair off with a more well-to-do man. Recently, my ex turned 30. She's a few months older than me, and it seemed to send her into a tailspin. She started talking incessantly about her own and others' salaries, geriatric pregnancies, and the potential of freezing her eggs, feeling uncertain about wanting to ever have kids, etc. She started spending an increasing amount of time with a group of female friends who advocate for being single and dumping one's boyfriend, only dating men for their income, etc. 40 days ago, my ex slept over like she normally does, and in the morning I asked her if she wanted to go to an open house. She started bawling and told me she couldn't do this anymore. She then became confrontational and told me she had been using me to get a condo and escape from her impoverished upbringing, but that she has realized she needs a provider and plans to date a man at least 10 years older who earns more money than me. She accused me of being a little boy and said she's seeking an older man. Shortly after she said this, her face dropped. She looked at me bitterly and said, "Oh, you're probably going to tell everyone I need a provider, aren't you?" I couldn't find any words. I was in total shock. She cried some more, told me that I'll always be her person, and the first one she calls if she needs someone, and that I'm destined for great things. She held my face in her hands and looked into my eyes while tears poured from hers. And when I didn't react with any emotion, she turned cruel again, in what I presume was an attempt to extract some sort of reaction out of me. She told me I'd feel weird for 6 months, but that I'd get over it, and that she was planning to delete my number and wait for me to reach out when I was ready. She went to the bathroom, collected it herself, and left. The entire interaction lasted about half an hour. I deleted her from everything, and we haven't been in contact since. I don't know where to go from here. I've gotten a lot of support from family and friends. Everyone is understandably upset with her and doesn't think I should reach out anytime soon. I've already mourned the relationship, and I understand that the breakup may have been driven by factors completely outside of my control. But what I haven't been able to come to terms with is losing her as a friend. Like I said, before dating, we were friends for 8 years and roommates for 2. I'd never felt this close to another person and can't imagine ever feeling this way about someone again. I would give anything to have been dumped in a typical "it's not you, it's me" fashion, and to be able to mend the friendship, because the thought of losing her for good is unfathomable. She's since made a Spotify playlist composed of songs all about regretting your nature and missing your ex and wanting to hear from them. I've switched to Apple Music. I'm left wondering, is our friendship salvageable? And should I even want to welcome her back into my life? If so, which one of us ought to reach out, and when? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. She then became confrontational and told me she'd been using me to get a condominium and escape from her impoverished upbringing, but that she's realized she needs a provider and plans to date a man at least 10 years older who earns more money than me. She accused me of being a little boy and said she's seeking an older man. That, my friend, is all you needed to hear. People like that don't often show their true colors, but when they do, what a blessing. No one, and I mean no one, should ever use you like that. That is so incredibly disrespectful. She is not worthy of being your girlfriend, and she sure as hell isn't worthy of being your friend either. You are a good man, and you deserve a good woman who loves and respects you. A woman who cherishes you, and not just because of what you can give her. Best wishes. I know you'll find the right one someday. Comment 2. I'm sorry, but this relationship, whether it be romantic or platonic, cannot be salvaged. Then I read this part. She started spending an increasing amount of time with a group of female friends who advocate for being single and dumping one's boyfriend, only dating men for their income, etc. In the future, always pay attention to who your significant other associates with. She admitted to you she was using you to get out of her situation. She admitted you weren't good enough, and she was looking for a better provider, attacked your manhood and socioeconomic status, then told you she deleted your number. Ouch. In the event she comes back, it is in your best interest and mental well-being to stay away from her. Now, for the update. Thanks for sticking around for the update. So, the week started off with a bang. My buddy, who's been my rock through all this, dropped the news. He's moving across the country for a job. This is the guy who's been there since day one, the one I could always count on. And now he's leaving. Everyone's asking, what's going to happen now? I'm asking myself the same thing, but that's not even the half of it. My ex, let's call her M, her mom got sick, real sick. Hospital visits, the whole 9 yards. And guess who M calls in the middle of the night? Me. After everything, she still sees me as her go-to. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to hang up, but I couldn't. I went to the hospital, I saw her there, a mess, and all those feelings came rushing back. But I kept my distance. Then her mom's condition got worse. M was a wreck. She had no one else, so she leaned on me. I helped, I supported, but I kept asking myself, why am I doing this? I guess old habits die hard. In the midst of all this, M's friends were nowhere to be seen. Those same ones who were all about being single and using guys for money. They bailed when things got tough. It was just me and her, back to back like the old days. But it was different. I could feel the shift. Now here's where it gets crazy. M's mom's condition stabilized, thank God. But M, she did something unexpected. She broke down, apologized for everything, said she was lost, confused, and scared. She admitted that she'd been lying to herself, trying to be someone she's not because of her mom's influence and her fear of ending up like her. I listened, but I kept my guard up. I've learned my lesson. But then, she did something that changed the game. She quit her job, the one she always complained about but kept because of the money. Said she needed to start fresh, do something meaningful. It was like she was trying to prove something, to me, to herself, I don't know. Everyone's talking about it. They're all wondering if this means we're getting back together. I'm wondering that too. But I'm cautious. I've seen what lies and fear can do to a person. And then, as if things weren't complicated enough, her mom, out of the blue, gave me her blessing. After all these years of disapproval, she told me I was the best thing that ever happened to her daughter. It felt like a twisted victory, but it was a victory nonetheless. So, here we are. M's trying to make amends, her mom's on my side, and my best friend's leaving. It's a mess, but somehow it feels like things are moving in the right direction. I'm not saying I'm going to jump back into a relationship with them, but I can't deny that there's still something there. I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm focusing on myself, my career, my own well-being. But I can't help but feel that maybe, just maybe, there's a chance for something new here. A new beginning, perhaps. Thanks for reading. My partner of 20 years keeps annoying me and teaching our kids bad habits. So I took control and showed them what happens when you push someone too far, by moving to the guest room, seeking counseling and job hunting, to gain independence and teach them a lesson in respect and boundaries. We've been together nearly 20 years and have 2 teenage children. My partner seems to find great joy in winding me up and pushing my buttons. For example, every night when I go to bed, he will come into the bedroom and tap me with his hand on my butt. It doesn't sound like much, I know, But he will do this about 15 times in a row, often when I've been asleep and then woken me up. This isn't a way to start anything intimacy. It's just him being annoying. I ask him to stop every night and stop waking me up. I'm up way earlier than him, and he will sometimes come to bed at 1 a.m. His response is to ignore me and continue. After this, he will leave me on the very edge of the bed, king-size bed, and when I ask him to move onto his side, he replies with, "I am on my side." Then he will leave me on the edge till he decides to leave 10 minutes later. This will happen most nights, and I'll keep my mouth shut. But there are occasions where I'm really tired and will end up shouting, "Can you just leave me alone?" To then be told that I'm ridiculous, not normal for reacting like that. Why do I have to scream and shout? But I've already asked every night and several times before this to just be left alone to sleep and not be prodded, etc. This may seem really trivial compared to some relationship issues, but it's so frustrating. My sons and I also have the two-sided issue of, if we're all in bed, he seems to make as much noise as he likes. For example, last night, the 14-year-old being in bed, and then partner going into his room at 1 a.m. and waking him up to look for a charger. But on the occasions that he has gone to bed before the teens, he will complain that there's a light on upstairs. They're making too much noise. They aren't. But he'll tell me that I need to tell them to be quiet or go to bed. As the years go by, it feels like I'm getting labeled as irrational, crazy, have you got mental health issues? When all I'm asking for is not to be used for his amusement. And when I react, the blow-up isn't the first time I've asked for this behavior to stop. Also, asking that the dog does not sleep on my side of the bed when I'm out at work is totally ignored. And I often get pictures of the dog lying there during the day. Now, I'm not one of these no dogs on the bed people, but put their blanket down in the bottom, not sleeping on my side at the top of the bed. Raising two sons and really don't want them to think that belittling your partner and annoying someone to the point that they are in tears is how you behave. Thanks now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. So you are with a sadist. He is enjoying making you upset and you want to show your kids that's not acceptable behavior. But as long as you stay with him, well, you are accepting the behavior. If you can't leave the relationship, you really should, in my opinion. This is hurtful. Leave the room or the house when he does it. Do that every time, even if it's inconvenient. Comment 2. No, you're not over the top. He's a terrible person, and it sounds like gaslighting, trying to make you feel crazy for perfectly normal requests. I'd say leave him, to be honest. That he sounds kind of hurtful and very selfish. Belittling your partner and annoying someone to the point that they are in tears is how you behave. Seriously, leave. Now, for the update, for sticking around to hear more about what's been going on. So, the other day, I came home from work, and guess what? The dog was on my side of the bed again, but this time, there was mud all over my pillow. I lost it. I told my partner that this was the last straw. He just laughed and said I was overreacting. But I wasn't laughing. I was so mad I couldn't even look at him. Then, things got worse. My oldest son, he's 16, he got into a big fight at school. He punched another kid. When I asked him why, he said the other kid was annoying him, and he just snapped. It hit me like a ton of bricks. My son was copying his dad's behavior, thinking it's okay to lash out when you're annoyed. I felt like I had failed as a parent. I sat down with my partner that night and told him we needed to talk. I explained how his actions were affecting our kids. He rolled his eyes and tried to change the subject, but I stood my ground. I told him that if things didn't change, I would have to consider leaving. That got his attention. He promised he would try harder, but I've heard that before. So I decided to take action. I started sleeping in the guest room. I needed my sleep, and I couldn't deal with being woken up every night. My partner was shocked. He didn't think I would actually do it. But it's not just about the sleep. It's about respect. I've been talking to a counselor, and she's helping me see that I deserve to be treated better. My partner has noticed the change in me. I'm not just taking his behavior lying down anymore. And then, just when I thought things couldn't get more complicated, my youngest son, the 14-year-old, he got caught cheating on a test. He said he was just trying to get good grades, so his dad would be proud of him. It broke my heart. I realized that my partner's behavior was affecting our kids in ways I hadn't even imagined. So, I sat both my sons down and had a long talk with them. I told them that it's never okay to hurt others, no matter how frustrated you are. I also told them that cheating is never the answer. They both seemed to understand, and they apologized. My partner has been quieter since I moved to the guest room. He's been trying to be more considerate, coming to bed earlier and not making as much noise. But I'm not sure if it's enough. I'm tired of the cycle of apologies and empty promises. I've started to look for a job with better hours so I can be there for my sons more. I want to show them that there are other ways to handle your problems. I want them to grow up to be kind and respectful men, not like their father. It's been a tough week, but I'm starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm standing up for myself, and I'm teaching my sons to do the same. I'm not sure what the future holds for my relationship, but I know that I'm doing the right thing for my kids. Thanks for listening. My girlfriend sneaks off to a conference with the guy I hate after 6 months of lies. So I cancel our trip to Mexico and expose her cheating to everyone. Update, I talked to her. She said that the group was formed before we had the talk about the guy. I believe this is true. She also said she hasn't entertained flirting with this guy at all and has been really mindful of the boundary since I made it. She also said her team meets virtually. She also stated how she did things to gain my trust since then, like she shares her location with me. I never asked her, and she lets me know where she is most nights and doesn't meet with guys one-on-one. These are all true. Part of me feels like I'm overreacting, but seeing all of these comments, a part of me wants to end things. The fact that they used to flirt is just in my mind. We are going to talk more on the phone soon. Any more advice appreciated. Background. I, 25-year-old male, have been dating this girl, 23-year-old female, for 1 month officially, and about 5 months unofficially. We have great chemistry and love our time together. She is really sweet, cooks for me, always says I love you, and I of course do the same for her and take her out for dates. I met her in graduate school. I graduated and working full-time, but she is finishing her last year in school. Everything was going well. We even booked a short vacation to Mexico in May because it was on both of our bucket lists, and we had both saved for something like this, and we had overlapping vacation time. So far, we have just bought the plane tickets. However, recently I came to learn she is in a group project with one male classmate of hers, who I can't stand. This isn't a project where they are assigned group members. She chose it. Before you say I'm overreacting, let me provide context. This guy is the ultimate sleazeball. He is married, but constantly hits on girls, makes intimacy remarks to them, gropes them, etc. He even told me how nice of an butt my girlfriend had, but he didn't know we were dating at the time. Before my girlfriend and I got together, I saw that he constantly flirted with her, and she flirted back. I told her once we started dating to cut contact with this guy, because they used to text. She agreed and said she has cut contact with him. Now I come to find out they are in a group together. She is always saying to me how she is busy outside of class working on her group project. She has a nice female best friend in the same class, and I just found out that she isn't in the same group as my girlfriend. I feel so stupid and like I don't trust her. I want to call off the vacation and honestly feel turned off about this and reconsidering this relationship. I could use some advice. I don't feel like I'm overreacting because this guy is so sleazy, and she clearly found him attractive before. She knows I don't like this guy, so why would she choose to be in a group with him? Advice, please. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Or maybe that was the best group to guarantee her a good grade. It doesn't have to be about this guy at all, except in your head. Talk to her before you ramp this up into a betrayal of trust in your head. Comment 2. This is why people date. Now you know she will cross your boundaries. Don't make a big deal out of anything and move on. Find someone else to go on vacation with. Now for the update. Thanks for the comments on my last post. Here's what's been going on. So, we talked more on the phone, and things seemed to be getting better. She reassured me again about the group project, and I was starting to feel like maybe I was just being paranoid. But then, out of nowhere, she drops a bomb on me. She's going on a conference trip for school, and guess who's also going? Mr. Sleazeball himself. She says it's for networking and opportunities, but I can't help feeling like it's a convenient excuse to spend time with him. I tried to keep cool, but inside I was fuming. I didn't want to be that guy, the one who's controlling or doesn't trust his girlfriend. But something about this just didn't sit right with me. I mean, she could have mentioned this trip earlier, right? And why did it have to be him going with her? The next day, she's packing, and I see a message pop up on her phone. It's from him, a winky face followed by, "Can't wait for the trip." I confronted her about it, and she said it was just a joke, that I shouldn't read too much into it. But how can I not? It's like every time I tried to trust her, something else comes up. I was torn up about it, and I ended up talking to her best friend, the one from her class. She told me that my girlfriend had been talking about this guy a lot, even before the group project started. That they had this connection in class. I felt like such a fool. Here I was thinking we had something special, and she's out there possibly still flirting with this guy. I couldn't just sit back and do nothing. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I canceled our plane tickets to Mexico. I told her that if she's going to this conference with him, then she clearly doesn't respect our relationship. She was shocked, said I was overreacting and that I was ruining our future over nothing. But then, the day after she left for the conference, her best friend sent me a picture. It was my girlfriend and Mr. Sleazeball, looking way too cozy at some fancy dinner. That was it for me. I knew I had made the right call. I felt betrayed, but at least now I had proof that I wasn't just being paranoid. She came back from the conference, and we had a huge fight. She kept saying it was all innocent, but I couldn't shake the image of them together. We haven't spoken since she got back. I'm still trying to process everything, but one thing's for sure, I'm not going to be made a fool of. Thanks for reading. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.